Okay, Laurence, this year the John Main Seminar will be on the theme Integral Christianity, the vision of Celtic Christianity for the crisis of the 21st century. So can we start, can we reflect on why this theme is important for us to discuss this year in the seminar?
Yes, it's important because the world is in crisis, as we know, and we don't know the way out of this crisis. It's too complicated. We have the environmental crisis, we have the political crisis, we have a social crisis, and we have a spiritual crisis at the root of it all. And I think Christianity, with the other faith traditions, but Christianity has a very, very important role to play in showing us how to go through this crisis and through this dark night, and how to keep hope alive as we go through. So the church itself is in some crisis and needs to be renewed. And if we want to understand the future and what that might look like and what we should do next, we have to understand the present. We have to understand where we are now. And to understand the present, we have to have some understanding and inspiration from the past. And the Celtic expression of Christianity is a wonderful source of inspiration. For many people, it will be a new discovery that Christianity could be lived so richly, deeply, imaginatively in this way, in the way that the Celtic tradition did for many centuries. So I think it's very important that we remember and we reconnect to that Celtic Christianity, and we will find it will help us to understand where we are now and what we should do next. There's a tremendous amount of inspiration in that form of Christianity.
Can you highlight one or two elements from this tradition, the Celtic tradition, that can bring this inspiration?
Yes, I think for one is the understanding and the deep appreciation of nature. The Celtic monks and the Celtic poetry during this period celebrate the beauty and the wonder of the natural world, of the world of the wind and the sea and the clouds and the plants and the trees and the animals. It sees this, like the Psalms, like the Bible does, as something wonderful, as an expression of the divine imagination and the divine presence. So they often said, you know, God wrote two books. He wrote the book of creation, and then he wrote the book of the Bible. And so to be able to read the book of creation is very important for us today, because we face the environmental crisis. I'll be leaving tomorrow to go to Rome for the Laudato Si conference with other young people from our community to participate in the raising of consciousness about the sacredness of creation. So the Celtic vision has this, and it probably has it so strongly because its origins in pre-Christian spirituality was the best of that connection was carried through and into the new Christian order after the conversion of Ireland. That's one thing. The other thing, I think, is the idea of how the church as an organization, because of course it needs organization, how the church as an organization can be structured. And we have today a very hierarchical structure, actually based on the Roman Empire system, and very hierarchical from the top down. The Celtic model is monastic, and monastic life centers around community. you had a hierarchy, of course. You had the abbot, and you have people fulfilling certain roles and responsibilities. But the model of the Celtic church was a village, a monastery, with concentric circles, and each circle represented a different kind of participation. But all the members of the village of the monastery were called monks. There were those who were ascetics who devoted themselves to what we might think of as the essential monastic life, but this was deeply interrelated with the other forms of Christian life, like marriage and different forms of single life as well. And the model here is more of a family, local structure, deeply rooted in the land and in a sense of belonging. Very different from the hierarchical and clericalized church that we're familiar with. So those are two examples of why this, there are many more, but the other, of course, is art. I mean, wherever human beings are deeply religious, they will also produce great works of art. And we know the art of the Celtic culture, and the Celts were not an empire. They were a civilization that spread all over Europe, and especially, of course, in Ireland and the Western, that part of the world, in Wales and Scotland, but all over Europe as well. But they were a civilization, and at the heart of that civilization was high levels of learning and culture and art and beauty in all forms.
Mention the aspect of community. Why the fact that the seminar is in Balari Parish? What's the significance of this parish?
It's a very wonderful example of how an institution can be awakened and be renewed from within by making contact with its own essential spirit and meaning and purpose. And this is what's happened with Father Jim Caffrey, who is a deeply spiritual man and a very dedicated priest who also spent a number of years as a monk. And he has understood that a parish community needs to be a contemplative community, and that's the church of the future. So he has built a wonderful spirit of unity. I found whenever I visit there, the parishioners are fully behind him, and he's inspiring them. They have a short time of meditation after every Mass in the parish. They have a contemplative Mass every week in one of the evenings of each week. They have meditation and morning prayer and evening prayer every day in the John Main Chapel at Balali. And so it's a place of prayer. It's also, of course, a place of service. And they do what a parish should do. They look after people in need, and they welcome them. They console them. They inspire them. The children come in regularly to the church, and I've been there and meditated with them many times, and I've seen how deeply affected the children are, how much they love those times of meditation in the church. So and yet it's very alive, friendly, warm, and human community. So I think it's very appropriate that we should have it there. And the parish is fully behind it. The parish is hosting it. And I think we're very lucky and privileged to. We're also, it's going to be significant that Father Jim and the head of the parish administration, Cynthia Aegis, will be making their final oblation to the WCCM Oblate community at the end of the seminar. And actually, right at the end of the seminar, we'll be having a pilgrimage for those who can come on the Sunday afternoon to the cathedral in Kildare, which is one of the sacred places of Ireland, where St. Bridget, one of the great saints, the sort of the counterpart to St. Patrick, St. Bridget is associated with that place, and will be concluding the seminar there. So also another reason that Bellally is very important is that it has such a strong sense of ecumenism and of Christian unity, and so we'll be we'll be conducting all of the services, all of the events, all the talks in that spirit of Christian unity. And the first day will be a retreat day of the seminar, and that will be led by the abbot of Glenstall, Benedictine abbot of Glenstall, and one of the major speakers, of course, will be one of the monks, a very well-known historian of the Celtic Christianity. So very rich and varied experience awaits us.
Can you just finish with a general invitation to our global community for join either online or in person?
Yes, I mean, if you can't come in person, then certainly join online. And of course, the talks and so on will be recorded, and you can watch them later if you can't watch them in your own time zone. But there's something very special, as we all know, about being in 3D reality with each other, and to be in close physical proximity and engaging with the experience with other people is, opens up a whole new depth of the meaning of the experience. So that is something I think that the WCCM will appreciate from its experience of meditating with others. And I think in whatever way you can participate, I would really encourage you to feel connected to it, because it's a unique event, and I think a unique source of hope and imagination and insight into the where we are now and where the Spirit is calling us to be. So it will be very unifying, both for the meditators who come together, for seekers from other communities and other movements, for them to come and join with us. It will be a wonderful gift. And I think for the church in Ireland, it's going to be an opportunity to look deep into itself and find the sources of renewal are already present in the living tradition.